Alrighty, well it looks like they have just started into picks and bans for game number 2. Hey guys, we are back with a very quick turnaround for game number 2. My name is Silver Dirge, and with me is Frodan. Game number 2 between Farmers Fighting and Choppa in the car. These guys have switched sides for this game, which means Choppa in the car will be taking blue at the bottom left, and Farmers Fighting will be in the top right. Getting into picks and bans, we do see Cassiopeia and Rammus, the same bans from that last game, set up, all ready to go. Shen also banned. We might end up seeing, I guess, the full identical bans from last game. It would be kind of boring, honestly, to see the same bans, but we shall figure that out, I suppose.
Yeah, so fantastic job over again by Choppa in the car, and so we'll have to see whether or not if Farmer Fighting is able to really, maybe they can rework their bans a little bit, but for the most part, it just seems like they're banning people they don't want to play against. Caston, of course. I feel like Caston is still manageable, but of course he's that assassin, the AP assassin that a lot of people just hate facing, no matter what. Now we see an Ahri ban actually. Now Ahri, of course, is a very strong AP champion just because of her mobility and her ability to really initiate through poke, which is just her ability to disable people through charm, and it's just very annoying, especially late game team fights when you're trying to posture up for position and then Ahri just throws out a charm and catches someone. Even if it's your tank, it just takes enormous amount of damage, and then initiate, maybe even just back off or initiate a fight off of that. So Ahri, of course, a very strong pick right now. We'll see what's the last pick here, but looks like Shyvana is actually the last ban. What do you think about that, Michelle?
Shyvana as the last ban, I'm very fascinated to see that. Actually, both the Ahri and the Shyvana bans, we didn't see either of them last game, so I guess they're deciding to either run team comps that would be crippled by either champion, or maybe they're trying to target in a different manner to force their opponents to pick different champions. But we shall see, since it's yeah, I'm actually very surprised with that. To me at least, there's no reason to ban out Ahri. Shyvana, I can understand if you have a relatively slow jungler and don't want to deal with the aggressive counter jungling that Shyvana has. Ahri, on the other hand, will capitalize on champions that depend on staying in one place because she is that assassin. She does have that charm, but in the meantime, we've got Gente picking up Karthus for Choppa and Dakar, and the rest of Farmers Fighting will take that Kog'Maw Janna combination, same as last time actually. Ooh, a pick on Galio and Lee Sin. What do you think about that Galio pick?
Yeah, Galio's a fantastic anti-mage, just able to go in and stack MR and actually do still a considerable amount of damage. A lot of people, they look at Galio, they look at the buffs and debuffs he provides, whether it slows, the taunts, and the speed boosts and the shields, but more importantly, he still hurts, and people just underestimate that. So we see people like Alex Ich do it a lot as M5, so I'm actually looking forward to see some good Galio play, because he was actually my first main ever. I used to go mid with him all the time, so I'm really happy to see him picked. I'm also really happy to see a Blitzcrank pick, although it's Blitzcrank and Alistar, and there's no direct AD carry, so they're actually going to go ahead and run the ever so infamous Blitzstar, and I say infamous because there's been a lot of notable fails with this duo composition. I know people like TSM has tried running it, CLG has tried running it, and both of those times I've seen it, it's actually gone terribly for the team that's attempted to it. Patoy looks like he's going to also pick up Soraka, though. Now, Soraka is really important because there's no direct support sustain, so it looks like, yeah, I mean, we'll have to find out who's actually going to be the one taking Smite. It could be Blitzcrank, it could be Alistar, but in the end, they're the ones that are running an unconventional composition. They still have a very strong late game damage in Karthus, so it'll be about how much damage he can do. But for the most part, you can expect that Farmer Friendly is going to come out guns blazing, especially with a Lee Sin to start off, because Lee Sin, of course, one of the strongest junglers right now in the game.
And I guess the very fascinating jungler will be Soraka for this game. Did pick up Smite, so either we'll see a jungle Soraka or kind of I have no words right now. I'm pretty sure they're just having their fun right now. Choppa in Dakar with a very decisive win over Farmers Fighting that last game, but Jungle Soraka.
Wow. Yeah, they are going Jungle Soraka, aren't they? Wow.
Blitzcrank bottom lane.
Jungle Soraka used to be actually viable. Well, okay, not necessarily viable in the sense that it was a good, solid pick, but it was viable in the sense that Soraka could jungle just because of the way she can clear minions out through her star calling, and she's able to infuse herself with mana and just sustain the jungle. The only thing is that her ganks are obviously awful unless she has red, and even then, her auto attack animations in the past were atrocious, but now that they changed her a lot in terms of auto attack animations and the infuse no longer works on herself, I'm wondering how this actually is going to work out. So, you know, they're trolling a little bit here, Michelle. They're trolling a little bit, but hopefully we can see good play. And I wonder if Lee Sin is going to go ahead and take the notion to go and fight Soraka in the jungle. You see, Lee Sin actually didn't pick up Exhaust, but picked up Flash, which shows a more, you know, a defensive, you know, mobility kind of Lee Sin jungling, but that doesn't mean that he won't go in and invade. So I want to see Tommy try to see if he can go pick off Patoy's camps, maybe even kill her, as Patoy is pretty vulnerable in the jungle.
And well, especially since it's Soraka, even if you do run, I guess, jungling runes to your preference with Soraka, she's still very, very fragile. Not quite, say, as fragile as Anivia is with the lowest health in the game, but Soraka being meant for a support role, even though I've seen Nat Nien, of course, Nat being able to play Soraka in all three lanes, and I guess the jungle, but I'm more fascinated to see how this all plays out. Tommy, if he does decide to be a lot more aggressive, that could definitely turn, I guess, the favor of this game to Farmers Fighting. And I think it's also a matter of whether or not Patoy can jungle quickly and effectively. And I suppose the only, I guess, the ganking ability that she'll be able to have is to run up to somebody and silence them. I can't think of any other way to do it.
Yeah, you know, the silence might come into play here. Now, something that's actually very interesting is that Galio actually is going to go top as an anti-AP against Cho. Now, that originally was going to probably be mid, but then I think when they saw Karthus and Cho being picked, then they decided to send him top. At least that's what it looks like with teleport. Galio could still go mid and teleport bottom. I've seen people do that in the past. We'll have to see, because again, Kennen could go top lane as well, and that's kind of the versatility right now of a lot of picks, especially a player like Kennen who can go to any lane. So as this game gets started, once again, guys, you're watching the ggClassic. I'm Frodan, and with me is Silver Dirge. We're entering the skins, the champion loading screen, which features a lot of skins, and this is the part where we judge players the most, not necessarily by the level of play they show, but the amount of RP that they have spent in this game.
And that Commando Galio, but of course, Gentleman Cho'Gath will have to win this one. I've always thought that Bruce Lee Sin skin, that's always like the shades.
Yeah, that's gonna be absolutely insane. So we're gonna see whether or not Choppa in the car is able to really execute on the level they want to, because again, the way Blitzcrank and Alistar runs lane is supposed to be more of a deny lane. It's just gonna try to see if they can prevent Jerry from farming and really just bully. And then they have just a lot of CC, and they're gonna try to see if they can protect Karthus. And of course, I just want to see if Patoy end up just gonna build up full out AP Soraka. That's a definitely big possibility. And AP Soraka actually hurts a lot late game over sustained damage just because of her MR shred, and it just stacks over time, and it adds a lot of surprising damage. So we'll see how that actually works out. Looks like Patoy actually does even pick up some health masteries, maybe even some quints. We'll have to see, because she has almost 500 health, and that's not usually what you see on Soraka. So we'll have to see the actual execution. I've been looking for some unorthodox things to do with my friends recently in normal queues, so hopefully I can even adapt some of this play into my own.
We are looking at a very aggressive level 1 invade like that last game. Hopefully Janna doesn't face check in anybody, and neither does the rest of Farmers Fighting. Galio here, will get flash pulverized. There's the exhaust, does have to flash out of there. He will not get picked off, having run to the safety of his tower, but will need to back up. That is a 2 flashes and an exhaust
30 seconds until minions
pre
spawn.
1 minute mark, and the rest of Farmers fighting it again. It looks like the same like game number 1. They can't really do anything about jungle invades.
That was Excellent unfortunately was not actually there with the team, and he could have definitely pulled back AA 24/7 and was able to secure first blood. So a little bit of unfortunate circumstance there, as Excellent was just lagging behind slightly, and no doubt you can tell that Choppa in the car definitely wanted to get that kill. Now, of course, Lee Sin could start pretty much anywhere in the entire jungle. That's also another big reason why people don't like him. He's a little bit hard to predict sometimes in jungle routes. He is going to start out here on Wraiths, which is a very common start as well. And after grabbing red, could just go top for an immediate gank. But for now, we see that Choppa in the card is going to go ahead and take blue here for Soraka. Very, very important for Soraka to have that blue early on, because she really can't clear jungle nowadays without it. So getting that early blue will be very, very big, and we'll actually see the start of the game here. Let's see how actually Patoy responds here. Is he going to actually just go ahead and return back home and resume jungling? I think she will.
Yeah, and we've got a Blitz Star bottom lane here. Bloody Big Boss needs to be very careful, as does Jerry, because as soon as they get grabbed by a well-placed rocket grab, they're going to be a ping-pong between these two all day long. But Tommy coming in here for an early gank up in top lane does miss the Q. Igata is running back to his tower, and good pressure there in top lane to keep them away. But now that they've seen them, Patoy having a little bit of difficulty here, jungling the lowest health out of everybody on the map right now.
Yeah, Jungle Soraka she struggles a lot with the big camps. The small camps that have low health, like Wraith, well, she can deal with manageably well, but she's going to have a lot of trouble doing that. Looks like Blitzcrank does land the pull here on Jerry, and the knockup. Power Fist does punch Jerry for a huge chunk of his health, so a good job there. But of course, the whole idea is they can't take too much harass in return, so we'll keep eyes out on the Blitzstar combo in the bottom, and make sure, because if you get caught more, like if Jerry gets caught again, I think they'll actually end up dying here. Looks like they're going to go ahead and try to see if they can Power Fish Jerry. Does end up pulling a minion though, so a good job there. But now Excellent's extremely vulnerable because he does not have his overcharge to run away. So again, this is probably the most fascinating lane to watch, just because of their dynamic with double bruiser against the conventional AD support.
Especially since they're both melee as well. That it all depends on whether or not they can get really up close and all in your face. But we've got Lee Sin here coming in through the jungle. Not sure if they'll be able to force anything. There we go. Tommy has run in. Looks like he will be able to jump onto Excellent. It runs on Rice. A good headbutt backwards, taking a lot of damage. Pulls Jerry under the tower. There's the ignite. But runs on Rice, barely surviving. Jerry as well with that ignite. Both of them nearly just fell right there. A good attempt to take down both Excellent and Runs on Rice.
Yeah, Jerry's actually sticking around here. He's trying to bait it for Tommy to come in here and potentially land the kill on Alistar, as Runs on Rice is getting noticeably low on health. Patoy still clearing jungle, only on level 3, but still actually on par with Tommy, because Tommy's spending a lot of time ganking. And looks like Tommy's going to go mid here, trying to see if he can jump on Jinte. Is Jinte prepared for this? If A can land his Howling Gust, he should be able to do a lot of damage. Jinte is completely slowed, but looks like Tommy is not going to jump on him with his Resounding Strike. Did not want to jump into tower range, as Lee Sin in general, when they hit that Sonic Wave, they're so tempted to do Resonating Strike. They're like, oh man, I landed it, I should go in. And you see a lot of Lee Sins actually get too greedy with that amount of damage, so good self-restraint there. In the meantime, top lane is still pretty passive there. Cho is one of those, another safe tops that you can really sustain for, but again, the way that Choppa in your card is going is for huge amount of magic damage, because of the way they can shred MR.
And Patoy here doing a little bit of a dance around, but thanks to the ward here in this Tribush, they will see that Jungle Soraka coming in for a gank. Lee Sin is going through top lane, And Double A now in a bit of trouble here if Patoy decides to engage. He is very far overextended. There's the wall of pain. Exhaust gets placed, and Double A in a lot of trouble here. He's trying to get away. Patoy in hot pursuit. There's a banana being thrown there. And the star call. Will he be able to escape? He is on the run right now from Jungle Soraka.
Oh, Patoy actually may have bitten off more than he can chew here, and he's going to try to see if he can take down Double A 24/7 before anything happens. Well, look at the damage Thomas taken from all the star codes that MR is wearing over time. Patoy under a lot of trouble. No, he does not want to give double buff. Is forced to flash, but McSwayze is going to be on the chase here. Does pick up first blood and double buff, so a fantastic job there. Meanwhile, on bot lane, Exxon is ready to pick off Jerry. Jerry's moving straight into the corner, but does dodge the pole there, so a very fantastic job there. Runs on Rice isn't done just yet. Does end up jumping on Jerry, but for the most part, they can't really trade without that ability to separate Kog'Maw from Janna.
Yeah, and there we go, a little bit of fun poking around between the two teams, both Galio and Soraka. Having some fun. Oh, Jerry does get grabbed by a rocket grab, runs on Rice, trying to punish Jerry for it. There's the summoner heal, has been used to get his little Kog'Maw hide out of there, and he'll be just fine as it runs on Rice and Exxon back up to buy. In the meantime, in mid, Double A has reached level 6, and so has Jinte.
Yeah, so some important players here starting to hit really important levels, so we'll see how that plays out. Top lane has been a really big harass fest here. McSwayze actually got feasted and ignited, but was not able to be finished off there. Igata was not able to do any more damage besides his full burst combo. Meanwhile, we see Patoy is actually counter jungling. Wow, very, very interesting. And we're able to steal yet another blue here for Choppa in your card. And he's actually going to try to see if he can gank one more time here on Double A 24/7. The wall pain does go up in the signs, making sure he can't do anything like flash, and he still does have flash up, but Double A 24/7 is not going to actually burn that. So good job avoiding it. And of course, that's kind of why people say Jungle Soraka. Yeah, she can clear camps, but her ganks are absolutely atrocious. Not really able to be effective here at all, Michelle.
And it is showing right now. She has hit level 5, close to a level 6 now. And same thing in bottom lane, Bloody Big Boss with Monsoon, not quite up yet. Evelyn and Excellent. Oh, why did I say Evelyn? Excellent. And runs on Rice here in bottom lane, continuing to farm up as best as they can. And I guess this game is just, in general, more passive than the previous one. Farmers fighting, even though they do have 1 kill advantage over Choppa in the car. Gold count is still slowly tipping into Choppa in the car's favor due to farm, but Patoy here coming in for a gank. Tommy's right behind him. There's an excellent ult by Galio to try to save Tommy, but they are in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, and looks like Tommy taking a lot of damage. Wow, that was a really close engagement. 2 members, actually all members are in danger of dying except for Jinte from both teams respectively. So great job there to avoid death, but could have swung either way with a little small, decision making each way. Excellent is pinged that he wants to grab Big Buddy Boss. Looks like he does manage to pick him up, and the grab on Jerry, and the double pounds. Will Jerry be able to go down here? I don't actually think so. Not enough burst. They waited a little bit too long. Kog'Maw has some decent health, and as soon as Janna hits 6, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Blitzcrank and Alistar to really stick onto Kog'Maw, so we'll have to see how that actually turns out in play. Patoy trying to hand off blue to Jinte. Now Jinte has to kind of do a really good job here of farming because, or he is doing a really good job of farming rather, sorry, I meant to say that. 65 over 47, and if there's anything that we've seen before, Choppa in the car is fantastic at farming and making sure they really stay up relevant in the gold count, so I don't want farmer fighting to actually fall behind this game either.
And Lee Sin poking out here into bottom lane, but due to the excellent ward coverage here placed down by this jungle Soraka, they see vision on Dragon and the entire lower jungle of the purple side. Jerry and Bloody Big Boss continuing to try to hold their lane and not get grabbed here. Top lane, we do see, I guess, less action here, but the intricate play between the Kennen doing damage and Cho'Gath also trying to damage him back so that you can keep that advantage there in top lane. They just have to lock each other down at this point, and the first person to make a mistake will free their opponent to just wander around wherever they want. On the other hand, we've got a Galio with teleport. He hasn't used it yet, and I'm curious to see how he plans on utilizing that teleport later in this game.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about how Galio has teleport, and that can really play in factor of bot lane ganks, but for the most part, he's been stuck trying to farm or stay mid and farm against ggClassic. ggClassic is actually killing him CS, but speaking of it, we do see Igata does get caught here by a slicing maelstrom from McSwayze. Will he be able to escape? Oh no, the Shuriken did miss, and that's actually huge. I think Igata would have actually been in danger of dying there, because that would have given Tommy an incentive to basically jump in and try to dive. And we do see on bottom though, Jerry's under a lot of pressure, runs on right, is gonna try to see if he can finish him off, and does pick it off. Patoy, oh man, he is on the chase. Those fire bananas are lighting Janna aflame, and Patoy does end up picking up the kill, calling the stars once again. So a 2-0 swing here for Team Choppa in the car, and all of a sudden you see that they are up in gold count because they've been able to stay up and farm. And actually that's quite interesting to note that Alistar is actually up in farm over Kog'Maw despite being melee. We see a dive attempt also on Igata, and this time Tommy also picks up the kill as well. So fantastic job there. They needed to do that much earlier, but again, because of a couple missed skill shots, had to delay that dive a lot longer.
Very well done. Top lane's tower is taking a lot of damage here by McSwayze's Sakura. Oh, Soraka there. And actually bottom lane here, that dragon has still been warded. No attempts made quite yet. I think earlier they Choppa in the car did have a chance to try to start on dragon, but likely the low levels of everybody in this game right now means the timers on which everyone remains dead would likely not give them enough time to come back before that happens. Ooh, Patoy does find Tommy here in the jungle. There's the engage. CV has been placed. There's the kick back. But that might have saved Soraka here. She is on the run here in top lane. Ooh, Tommy does take him down though.
Yeah, but meanwhile in bot lane, Jerry gets caught by another rocket grab, and there's the full amount of CC. Jerry can't do anything, but Double A 24/7 does teleport in. Nice silence there to disengage out of Durant and to make sure that taunt does not last. Runs on Rice still pretty high health here, and he's doing some pretty considerable damage with his Sheens and double Dorns. Jerry does pick up the kill. A really important thing to get Kog'Maw on the board here, as well as the fact that he is down in CS, so that does make up for a little bit of it. Runs on Rice and Jerry pretty much even on the gold count right now. So, you know, a good amount of kills, and all of a sudden we see the gold count is even. So this game is much more closer than we anticipated, as Farmer Fighting is doing a good job here, trying to claw their way back into the game ever so slowly, because we've seen in the past, if you give Choppa in the car a lead, they'll end up running away with it. So doing a good job trying to stay relevant, and I just like the fact that Galio was able to use teleport there to really come down in a time of need, and just showing strong teamwork there.
And speaking of teamwork, Patoy still with a timer here on this blue buff, looking to steal that just repeatedly. Galio here in middle has not been able to take that, but oh, runs on Rice, taking a lot of damage here by Jerry, and really needs to back up. There we go. But yeah, just all over the board. A lot of action, and being able to be aggressive against a more an atypical. Oh, excuse me, that was my phone. Against an atypical team composition, Farmers Fighting do an excellent job of keeping up with their opponents. Here at bottom lane, Patoy is engaging a bloody big boss. There's a lot of damage there. Wow, and Jerry not able to do anything even under his own tower. A K-Theed surprise will catch Patoy, but not doing the damage he could expect it to. Middle lane, Galio doing work here on this middle tower.
Yeah, someone in the chat pointed out that at full MR reduction in Shred, it's about minus 60 MR, so that's a thank you for that observation. But more importantly, that is absolutely savage. You can see how fast Janna fell, and even Kog'Maw was fell victim to that huge combo. And despite the fact that, you know, even if you build MR, they're just going to reduce it a lot. But Toy starting to work on mid here while they set up a blue for ggClassic, and looks like again they're going to just pass off blue and just control the buffs. And that also just kind of go to show you that Tommy needs to be better in terms of controlling his jungle. He is Lee Sin. He should be trying to set the pace of who is getting what buffs and when. And he's been spending a lot of time trying to gank here, like he is going to go on mid. Is he going to be able to land it? ggClassic just put up his wall of pain. Does end up getting hit by the resounding strike, but not going to be any follow-up besides that. Runs on Rice does end up trying to combo Tame with the pulverized headbutt, but the ignite not of any real serious threat. There's the item of Duran. Will ggClassic be able to go down here? He does. Tame does pick up the kill, but Toy trying to see if he can chase it. There's the Requiem, and it should be able to finish off Tame, although ggClassic probably shouldn't have taken that kill because that would have passed on the double buff there to someone else. But regardless, a nice little recovery there, as you can tell that Choppa and Car still working very well together as a team despite this unusual composition. Runs on Rice in a lot of trouble in the bot lane though. Jerry, even if he doesn't kill him here, should be able to pick it off. He's taking tower hits, although that's not what you want to do. Let your creeps take damage and then be able to dive him. So looks like the camaraderie or the cavalry is here to take out Jerry, and the Monsoon will re-engage the fight, or will it? Oh, the rock grab does barely miss. So after a couple engagements here, Patoy looked like he wants to dive, but shouldn't actually try to do it because Patoy is actually going to just die there. And Michelle, that was a pretty misguided step there by Patoy.
Yeah, I was expecting that to be a lot more vicious in terms of, I guess, a counter gank, being able to keep Jerry and Bloody Big Boss around just long enough. Jerry taking a lot of damage here by Runs on Rice, but an excellent bait there by the Summoner Heal will keep him alive for a double kill in bottom. That sets them up for Dragon. Looks like they're on their way.
Yeah, so fantastic job here from Farmer fighting, and now they get a Dragon, and their gold advantage should be pretty hefty at this point. And by hefty, I mean only 2,000 gold, but at this point in the game, any kind of lead, you'll take it, especially because top tower did drop during the whole time, as McSwayze was able to really pressure Cho and force him out of lane multiple times. Now, ggClassic, he's kind of been a little bit, he's been really aggressive, but sometimes overextending just because he's been relying on his teammates' bait. But unfortunately, Runs on Rice, his damage is really limited on his ability to melee, and he hasn't really been able to catch up to people like Tame, McSwayze, AA, because they have ways to speed themselves up to make sure that Runs on Rice never gets to them. So Alistar, a little bit hard to really land all your auto attacks with a kiting composition that Farmer Friendly is, or sorry, Farmer Fighting, I keep saying friendly, Farmer Fighting is running. So we'll see whether or not they can really fix that in the mid game, because pretty soon laning phase will end, Michelle, and we'll have to see whether or not the teams can fight as a whole. But Blitzcrank and Alistar, even if they don't do too well in lane, as long as they have a respectable amount of CS and levels, they still are a pretty big force in team fights.
Pings there by Runs on Rice. They need to back up. Tommy has been spotted by that Dragon ward there, but unfortunately no Dragon. McSwayze will find Patoy here in middle lane. So does AA. Will they be able to pick this up? They're in hot pursuit. There's an excellent ultimate. Patoy taking a lot of damage. There's the wish. Patoy will fall. Tommy is now oh, they are looking at ggClassic, but he is not going to be easy fare to pick off, especially under the tower. Jerry taking a lot of damage here by Runs on Rice, and excellent in bottom lane.
Yeah, so it was a really good job there, and of course, we do see that Jerry is now leading the lane in CS, 111 to 105. Galio is still a little bit behind ggClassic, but for the most part, still staying pretty relevant there, as we did see ggClassic finish up his own Rod of Ages. Now, I've seen multiple builds on Galio in general. People, sometimes they go, if you're Hotshot GG, you go for Rod of Ages, and you try to see if you can build up your AP, and even people like Algich sometimes even goes Death Cap on Galio, but we see that AA 24/7 is still going for more of that anti-magic resistance Galio, and that's actually really important, because you shouldn't try to see if you can go just a straight AP. There's a lot of MR on this team, and they can do a lot of damage. But in the mid, we see Agadia is going to stick onto Tommy here, trying to see if he can land the Rupture. He does, and ggClassic will pick up the kill. Sizing Maelstrom on Patoy, and Patoy still taking way too much damage here. As will she go down? The Howling Gust does end up missing. Looks like we get the pulverized headbutt combo on McSwayze, and AA 24/7 is still under a lot of pressure. The Defile doing so much damage. Look at that MR shred. The wall of pain goes up 1 one more time. Bloody Big Boss is trying to evacuate from the premises, but looks like we do see that the mid tower will end up dropping anyways, and all of a sudden, Choppa in your car taking the gold lead despite the fact that Farmer Fighting had that small little margin. So good job there, and all of a sudden, we were talking about team fights earlier and how it would pull out. A great team fight there for our blue team.
And Jerry, trying to take out as much of Excellent's health as possible. Again, they're stealing that blue buff, and that is absolutely crippling right now. They don't have the buffs they need. I mean, Farmer Fighting, they don't have the buffs that I think they would want, and unfortunately getting picked off right here in that middle area. Lee Sin just kind of traveled this way here. Both Galio, Soraka, and Kennen just kind of scattered about to the 4 Rams, and unfortunately separating like that when you have an AoE team composition or an excellent poke, that's not exactly where they want to be. But we do see Bloody Big Boss has picked up an Oracle, trying to preserve that and trying to clear out all the wards possible.
Yeah, now I don't like this decision at all by Farmer Fighting, because now it's 21 minutes in the game and Baron is really, really relevant on the board. They do have 1 ward there in the river bush, but it's still not necessarily enough vision for them to kind of swing bottom the way they're trying to. It's just a risky play, and if Choppa in your car saw this, they can actually go ahead and just Baron, just because of the nature of the position. Actually, I think they might do it. Yeah, they're pinging as if they're just gonna go straight for Baron, and they will. Gladly sacking bot tower, because Excellent at this point really doesn't do much damage anyway. She is just a CC bot. So with a tower for a Baron, I would take that trade any day of the week, unless of course it's my Nexus we're talking about. But you know, with also a lot of MR shred, although I believe that Baron did change the ability to not get debuffed, but still with Carthage you should be able to go through Baron relatively quickly. And plus they technically have 2 smites in a sense with Cho, and Cho can feast, and they can also have a smite, so a great amount of damage for their objective despite not having an AD carry.
Yep, and Excellent getting picked off here in middle lane after having chased Jerry and just sat there auto-attacking. But I do suppose that sacrifice, while a little bit mindless, was not really worth a whole lot. Could afford to do that, delay the rest of Farmer Fighting, chasing down the rest of his team. Patoy here with a Baron buff on the jungle. Soraka does have a Rylai's. Very frightening indeed. There's the engage, and runs on the right, taking a lot of damage. There's the ultimate by Galio and Alistar. Alistar will fall. The ult by Kennen. In the meantime, I got it with a double buff, and Baron does slay Tommy. Gente, McSwayze going down to Patoy for that magic resist, just tearing through everybody, and that is a very quick ace.
What? I just witnessed a 3v5 with immense amount of MR shred, and all the magic resistant or magic powered damage or magic damage in general stayed alive because Patoy was able to put on the MR shred, and as a result, Gente was able to just run around with Defile and absolutely wreak havoc on everything, and that was an incredible amount of damage. And all of a sudden, you see that a team fight that Farmer Fighting should have won actually went horribly wrong. As you can see Patoy even healing things like minions and really getting into the play, and of course Baron buff did help a lot in that fight. And I don't know, I'm just really flabbergasted by the amount of damage they're able to do. Tommy's still under a lot of pressure. Looks like they're just going to keep sticking on him. Igata is under a lot of pressure, though. Does not want to die to lose his stacks, but does end up dropping. Patoy should also die as well. So a nice little consolation prize for our purple team. But for now, that's actually a really good sign, though, still, for Choppa in your card, just because the fact that they were down 3-5 but still managed to swing a team fight in their favor if they can keep key members alive is very telling for the late game.
And they no longer have the Oracle's Jenna here with a blue buff. They're going to try to take Dragon after having lost the chance at Baron, which is, I guess, a fair consolation prize. Yep, there they go. They have the Dragon, and they're swinging around as a team, trying not to get picked off like the rest of Choppa in the car right now.
Yeah, Michelle, now I want to ask you, what do you think about, you know, the way things are executing for Farmer Fighting? Are they engaging on their terms? Because obviously the combination is Galio, ult, Kennen ult, and just have, you know, Kog'Maw do as much damage as you can just with some solid AoE. But How do you think they're executing right now? Just because, you know, they're trying to see if they can fight here. Actually, they're going to fight right here. Jerry does end up using his cleanse to get away here. And looks like McSwayze just adding a lot of damage to the Maelstrom. A24-7 is trying to see if he can get a lot of damage. And McSwayze drops, though, as Patoy. Oh, no, Tommy jumps back into the fight. That's not actually what he wanted to do there. But I guess it does pick up 3 more kills. So in the end, it was a 3-person swing. As looks like the only remaining survivors were Alistar and Blitzcrank, who are actually backdooring. Runs on Rice is actually trying to go for the inhibitor turret, and looks like they're going to go that far, but for the most part, that was a very interesting battle. What do you think about it? Give me your thoughts here, Silver.
My thoughts right now, I would like to see Bloody Big Boss utilize that Monsoon a little bit more. Runs on Rice taking that middle inhibitor. Excellent, doing some work here on the top inner turret. In the meantime, Jerry and Bloody Big Boss doing what they can here in this bottom lane, but Runs on Rice, they're taking a lot of free damage. Does flash over the wall away from Galio, who's still in hot pursuit. Does miss. And, Runs on Rice does get picked off anyway. But yeah, that entire team fight, I feel just, I wouldn't say that the fights are sloppy, but I think Janna should be a greater factor in those fights. Monsoon had not been used at all, and I think if he had decided to use that ultimate just a little bit earlier, they might have had a chance to save more members of the team, continue pushing in that bottom lane, and I think that's really pivotal right now. Otherwise, it feels very much like Farmers Fighting is almost shooting from the hip. If Chopper in the car engages on them, they try to find just the right combination and just kind of go in there blind almost, given the way that Monsoon, I think, needs to be used a little bit more aggressively. And Patoy here trying to take blue buff again. But yeah, I guess that's my thought on this. I think Janna should be able to do a little bit more with that Monsoon, but as luck would have it, that's very much not the case.
We do see that Excellent is moving out here. Thank you, by the way, Michelle, for giving a great analysis of your thoughts. And I think it's really important right now for Farmer Fighting to not overextend their boundaries, because they actually have lost an inhibitor. So that's going to be a really big play, especially with Baron coming up very, very soon. It should pop within the next minute or so. And that will be a very big factor, because they can't do the things that they want to do anymore, like swing bottom 5 people anymore, just because mid lane is what they have to do. Now, what they could do is push mid ever so slowly and get it to the point where they can give themselves enough time to fight for Baron and hopefully let it reset. But for now, they're stuck playing defense, while you can see people like Patoy and Excellent have been just wandering around, killing wards, controlling jungle buffs, and you can see overall still a really uncomfortable moment for Farmer Fighting inside their own jungle. Tommy trying to see if he can maybe jump onto Patoy, but looks like a team fight is about to brew up here.
Yeah, and unfortunately not a whole lot of vision there. CV has been placed down. Bloody Big Boss trying to give his team a little bit more vision. Ooh, excellently done, being able to sneak that ward up into that bush, but unfortunately, AA has been caught here by Runs on Rice. Ooh, excellent rocket grab does land, but Galio may not have been the best champion to have done that for. Jinte suiciding into the Farmers Fighting team. There's Requiem, and ooh, it does take a lot of damage out of the majority of their members. There's a very late Monsoon. Would have liked to see that a little bit earlier, but there we go. Jinte, ooh, does go down. Patoy takes down Bloody Big Boss. There's the Summoner heal as well. Patoy goes down, and this is the last few members of the team. Jerry trying to take down Excellent, but Mick Swayze going down to Igata and Jerry on a rampage now in top lane. That is almost a full ace. This Cho'Gath's very massive right now. Will go to work on the Nexus turrets. And in the meantime, Kog'Maw and Lee Sin, last men standing.
He basically chased Ken all the way down. Now, Agata is going to be very annoyed the fact that Kog'Maw has double buff, which means he shouldn't be able to run. He's going to try to see if he can feast him, but Jerry is unstoppable. He's getting Kog'Maw rolling. He's got that Infinity Edge and that Phantom Dancer, and even an Elixir of Agility to boot just to help him with that. Now, Baron's on the board, and it's really important that 2 members of Choppa and Yakar dropped later in the team fight, because now they have a slight time advantage in terms of spawn cycles, and you can maybe even see them try to rush Baron because they will have the ability to sneak it in if they can control it and get there in time. But the way they're actually posturing themselves looks like they're just gonna let it happen anyways and just give it up to Choppa in your car.
And oh, actually, yeah, we see a lot of movement in the general Baron direction. I'm pretty sure they know what's going on right now. Ward has been placed. Clairvoyance is still on cooldown. I'm pretty sure they know they're on their way. Bloody Big Boss is seen by that ward. The places down a ward of his own. Oh, excellent rocket grab onto McSwayze, and he melts instantly. Galio, in the meantime, trying to walk the long way around, does have to flash over the wall to get out of there. But that is brutal. They do. Choppa in the car does have Baron buff, and looks like they will be coming in here for the final push.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, McSwayze doesn't do that much damage. He doesn't really even have his death cap yet. He has a Zhonya's and a Will, but he looks like he's building for O'Reilly's as well, and not going to have that much actual damage. Inhibitor just recently comes out, but no doubt, as soon as this inhibitor actually dies, you can expect Choppa in your car to even keep pushing, because they do have 5-on-4. Here comes the Wall of Pain. Jerry's under a huge amount of pressure here. If he goes down, that's pretty much the huge portion of the damage from Farmer's fighting. Looks like we do see the rocket grab on Double 24/7, and the Feast will finish him off. Tommy trying to Tempest and slow the entire team away, and Tommy is pretty tanky. McSwayze coming back into the battle. Here comes the slicing Maelstrom, and we do see the Unbreakable Will from Runs on Rights, but he gets thrown into the Nexus. Jerry will be the one who goes down, though. Jinte does land some really critical laneways. Jerry, of course, finishes off with his passive, but with the Requiem, McSwayze's in a lot of trouble, and there it is. As Boom goes to Dynamite, Runs on Rice even gets Janna off the fountain, and that is an ace and probably the game here, as we do see that Farmer fighting. There's no one up there. The next person's up in 15 seconds, and that should be the game. 2-0 will be your final score here for Choppa in your cars. They will move on to the round of 16.
Very well done by both of these guys. Again, this was a team Farmer fighting, excuse me, and Choppa in the car. My name is Silver Dirge, and this is Frodan. We also want to thank our sponsors, gaming.stackexchange.com, for this tournament, the ggClassic, put on by GG Chronicle and Leecraft.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for everyone watching as well. Because we realize that there's a lot of other tournaments going on, but more importantly, if you like what you see, follow this channel just so you can get more updates. I believe there's a lot more games going on today. I know there's supposed to be a reflex match. Heck, there's even supposed to be Lazura Gaming going on right now, but unfortunately things didn't work out that way. Later on today, we're going to see MTW and Books Are Cool going to be playing, as well as Team Curse and some other teams that are pretty high up in ELO if you like follow the ladder scene at all. JPack and Friends is actually pretty high up there, as well as Convergence Gaming, so you can expect good games from them as well. Just make sure to check out everything. If you see a thread on Reddit, check it out. If you see any post on solomid.net or CLG Gaming, also give us your support. Real quick about gaming.stackexchange, it's basically a website where you're able to ask questions and get answers and upvote based off questions and answers. And whoever gets the highest rated question and the highest rated answer tagged as League of Legends by March 21st, you'll receive a gaming console of your choice up to $250 in value. That's right. You can get an Xbox, a PS3, you can get a Wii, although you can even get yourselves like a GameCube if you really, really want, and you want to go back into like 2004. But you can pretty much do whatever you want. Questions have to be posted on the website, though, in order to enter. Make sure you also post the word ggClassic somewhere in your profile so you can be eligible to win a $25 RP card, which is fantastic if you want some of those legacy skins, or if you want to buy the upcoming support champion Lulu and the double bundle. Or you can get Commando Bundle, which just came out very recently as well. But that's pretty much it about our sponsors. Do you have anything last words to say, Michelle, before we sign off here?
Not at all, but judging from the schedule, the next team showing up on this channel will be MTW versus Team Easy. On this channel, Channel 1 will host Curse versus Team Brutal Force. Channel 3 will be Books Are Cool versus Just Your Average Joes. And finally, on channel number 4, Convergence Gaming versus JPEG and Friends, starting at 1 p.m. PST or 4 p.m. EST, depending on where you are. And we will be back very momentarily with those games. Don't go away, folks.